Hey everybody, before we get into today's episode, here's a quick dose of modern science before today's episode. Debloat by Lumo is a supplement that combines digestive enzymes and probiotics, two powerful tools that help the body digest food more efficiently and reduce bloating. It's easy to take, just one capsule within 20 minutes of eating, and it's made with only four ingredients: tempeh, papaya, pineapple, and soybean.
Use code INFO on the go at trylumo.co for 15% off. You can find the link in the show notes. Hi, I'm William,
And I'm Kat.
and that means this is Info on the Go.
We're answering questions you want to know.
So, Kat, did you know that baseball is known as America's pastime?
Nope, but this nickname derives from baseball's American origins, its role as a source of escapism during challenging times in American history, and its significant cultural impact.
The game invented in the 19th century, baseball provided Americans with uniquely American game. During difficult periods like the Great Depression and the American Civil War, it served as a vital escape. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I could see needing escape during times like that.
Yeah.
Baseball's cultural legacy is profound, and its unique player-fan interaction allows fans to potentially influence and the outcome of a play or game.
The history of baseball on this episode of Info on the Go.
Here, I guess we should give a brief overview of how the game is played.
Sure. Baseball is a classic American sport played between two teams of 9 players each. The game is divided into 9 innings, and the team with the most runs at the end of these innings wins.
Here's a quick breakdown of how it's played. We got one, the field. The game is played on a diamond-shaped field with four bases arranged in a square. The bases are first base, second base, third base, and home plate.
Pitching. One team plays defense and the other team plays offense. The defensive team has a pitcher who throws the ball from the pitcher's mound toward the batter of the offensive team standing at the home plate.
Three is batting. The batter tries to hit the ball with a bat, and if they hit it, they run to the first base and try to advance to the next bases.
Scoring runs. The goal is to make it around all the bases and back to the home plate to score a run.
And fielding. The defensive team's goal is to get the offensive players out. This can be done in several ways.
It can be done by catching a hit ball before it touches the ground, which is called a fly out, throwing the ball to base before the runner gets there, that is called a force out, or tagging the runner with the ball while they are not touching a base, and this is called a tag out.
Switching roles. After three outs, the team switches roles. The offensive team goes on defense and vice versa.
So, innings. The game continues for 9 innings, and we should say that the first team gets the bat, then they go defense, offense. That is 1 inning. So, innings. The game continues for 9 innings, with each team having a chance to bat and field in each inning.
Winning the game. The team with the most runs at the end of the 9 innings wins the game. If the score is tied, extra innings are played until a winner emerges.
And here we should say, because this is such a big episode, we're going to save what the seventh inning stretch is for a whole different dash of info,
Sounds good to me.
and what the longest game was played in extra innings. We're going to do that in a dash of info. What do you think?
That sounds like a plan.
Perfect. All right, so back to this. Tracing the evolution of baseball from older bat and ball games is really challenging. A 1344 French manuscript shows a game resembling baseball, possibly La Sole. Other French games like Tech or La Belle à Bâton are also related. Traditionally, it is believed that modern baseball evolved from the British game rounders.
However, David Block's book, Baseball Before We Knew It, argues that baseball originated in England with rounders and early baseball being regional variants. He suggests the game came from the English games like stoolball and tutball. There's also evidence that cricket may have been imported to England from Flanders.
The first American reference to baseball is from a 1791 Pittsfield, Massachusetts bylaw. By 1796, the game was also known enough to be mentioned in a German scholar's book.
In 1828, the boy's own book published the rules of rounders, describing a bat and ball game. By the early 1830s, various bat and ball games, including town ball and base-ball, were played in North America. One such game was described in an 1838 letter about a game in Beachville, Ontario.
The first official baseball game in the United States took place in 1846 in Hoboken, New Jersey. In 1845, Alexander Cartwright of the Knickerbocker Club created the Knickerbocker rules, which banned soaking or plugging, which is basically hitting a runner with a thrown ball to get them out. That's gotta hurt.
It does have to hurt. And the ball has just evolved over time. Like the balls were really kind of soft and definitely more rubber on the outside back then.
Yeah. But I couldn't get. Have you ever played, what is that game you play where they put you in the closed room? Racquetball? That's a little
Mm,
rubber ball. You get
yeah.
hit with that thing, it hurts.
Right.
It
Right.
might not be coming at you as fast as what, throwing a ball would be. I don't know.
I
Anyway,
don't know. I feel like if you're hitting it with it's a tennis racket, right?
yeah, yeah, it's like a tennis
If you're
racket.
hitting it with a racket, you might
It's
end up
probably
with
coming at you
more
faster.
velocity than being thrown.
Yeah, because I
But I
mean,
would have to
hey,
look that up.
that thing comes at you pretty hard sometimes.
I believe it. These rules brought baseball closer to its modern form, and the rules continued to evolve over the next half century.
So we're going to get into the Doubleday myth, which suggests that baseball was invented in 1839 by Abner Doubleday. He was a general in the American Civil War in Cooperstown, New York.
To settle a debate over whether baseball originated in the United States or evolved from the British game rounders, the Mills Commission was established in 1905 to gather evidence.
Mining engineer Abner Graves wrote a letter claiming that Doubleday invented baseball, which was later published in a newspaper. The Mills Commission used this letter to conclude that baseball was of an American origin, naming Doubleday as the inventor in 1908. And here I should say, we should probably dedicate a dash of info to yellow journalism.
Yes,
And,
I
and
agree.
for and for our listeners, we probably need to explain what that is.
Yes.
It's basically back in the day, journalists could just write whatever without any proof.
Just throw it out there.
Yeah, kind of like a
Interesting.
tabloid.
Tabloid, kind of like Facebook.
Uh, Definitely like Facebook.
Initially, the claim was well received by Americans, but over time it faced criticism from various writers. Modern baseball historians generally regard the myth as false. Graves's account has been questioned due to its inconsistencies and doubts about his reliability as a witness.
The Mills Commission's report also deviated from Gray's original letter. The National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum was built in Cooperstown, the town where Graves claimed baseball was created.
Hmm. The legend remains well known among baseball enthusiasts.
Yeah, I mean, like the Atlanta Braves, they have their Cooperstown jerseys, and I know most other teams do too. So, it's accepted, but we just wanted to get into the history of it here.
Right, the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So the origins of baseball have been debated for over a century. So baseball's history is complex and multifaceted. However, there is a leading theory.
The theory is the game evolved from older bat and ball games played in England by the mid 18th century. These games were brought to North America by immigrants, where the modern version developed.
By the late 19th century, baseball became the national sport of the United States and started spreading to the Pacific Rim and the Americas.
Today, it's popular in North America, parts of Central and South America, the Caribbean, and even East Asia, especially in Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan.
The first recorded game of base hyphenated ball was in Surrey in 1749, featuring the Prince of Wales. In 1755, William Bray documented a game in Guildford, Surrey.
Baseball was brought to North America, like William said, by English immigrants and further evolved from there. By the early 1800s, similar games were played on both sides of the Atlantic.
Organized amateur club baseball emerged in eastern U.S. cities in the 1830s and 40s. The first documented baseball game took place in Canada in 1838. Innovations by New York City clubs shaped the modern game, which diverged from its English ancestors. And that is the leading theory that it really evolved from English, you know. So,
Immigrants that
yeah.
came over here to America. In the mid 1850s, baseball surged in popularity throughout the New York metropolitan area. By 1856, local publications had begun referring to baseball as the national pastime or national game. In 1857, 16 area clubs established the first governing body for the sport, the National Association of Baseball Players, or the NABBP.
A significant rule change in 1863 disallowed putouts made by catching a fair ball on the first bounce. And in 1867, the NABBP banned African American players from participating in the game of baseball.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Grew, leading to the formation of the first fully professional baseball team, the Cincinnati Red Stockings, in 1869. The Red Stockings went undefeated against a schedule of semi-professional and amateur teams, marking them as baseball's only unbeaten team during a regular season.
The first professional league, the National Association of Professional Baseball Players, operated from 1871 to 1875, though some scholars really debate its status as a major league team. I say that they were, personally.
Yeah. I mean, it operated for 4 years. I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
A more formally structured National League, or NL, was established in 1876, becoming the oldest surviving major league and earning the moniker Senior Circuit. Other major leagues emerged and collapsed, and in 1884, African American player Moses Walker, along with his brother Welday, for a brief period, played in the American Association. Good for them.
Yes, absolutely. However, by the early 1890s, a gentleman's agreement effectively excluded black players from white-owned professional leagues. Though professional Negro leagues formed, they struggled to remain viable, often finding themselves financially unable to just keep up.
Financially, they're probably very much stigmatized. There's probably a lot of history there.
Yes.
Several major rule changes occurred during this period. Overhand pitching was legalized in 1884, and in 1887, the game of softball originated as an indoor variation of baseball. By 1893, most modern baseball rules were in place, with the last major change being.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
AI can feel overwhelming, right?
Every day there's a shiny new tool, another hype, another headline. But where should you actually start? What's working for other businesses? And what types of AI really matter for your company?
That's exactly what we unpack on the Beginner's Guide to AI. Each episode blends insightful conversations with business leaders and easy to follow explainer episodes to help you navigate the AI landscape with confidence.
Tune in to Beginner's Guide to AI wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
The counting of foul balls as strikes. This was introduced in 1901. The National League's first successful competitor, the American League, evolved from the minor Western League, and that was also established in 1901. The two leagues frequently competed for top players, often ignoring each other's contracts and engaging in legal disputes, the Wild Wild West.
The wild, wild west of baseball. I mean,
Yeah,
and I
thank
can
you.
imagine being like just a spectator or a fan of anything, and they're like, okay, which team is so and so playing on now?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, and just say, okay, I'm going to tear up this contract and go sign another contract. Like, how does, yeah, baseball
How is
is,
their camaraderie with teams, or what's the or a wide fandom? I guess maybe is the word I'm looking for to continue if the players just keep switching sides.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
I
where's
could
the
see that.
loyalty? I'm confused. The conflict between the leagues led to the National Agreement of 1903, which formalized their relationship and created the National Baseball Commission to oversee organized baseball. The same year, the first World Series was held, with the Boston Americans defeating the Pittsburgh Pirates. However, the 1904 World Series did not take place because the National League champion New York Giants refused to recognize the AL's major league status. How rude.
Yeah.
The bigotry.
In 1858, the National Association of Baseball Players was formed with uniform rules. The first professional league, the National Association of Professional Baseball Players, was founded in 1871, followed by the National League in 1876. And as Kat mentioned, the first World Series was held in 1903, and this became an annual event by 1905.
So the first World Series was American League champion Boston Americans against the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates. Boston Americans became the first major league team to win the World Series, and the Boston Americans would later be named the Boston Red Sox.
We had to let you know that.
Yes.
Anyway, professional baseball teams appeared in Canada as early as 1877, and the sport spread globally in the 18 and 1900s. Baseball was an Olympic medal sport from 1992 to 2008, and international competitions like the Baseball World Cup and the World Baseball Classic, first held in 2006, also celebrate the game. I think baseball should still be a part of the Olympics. Yeah, no,
Yeah, maybe. I guess.
and
I don't know.
and also, like I think like soccer has the World Cup. Baseball should continue to have the World Cup.
Yeah, no, I agree with that there. That for sure I agree with. See, I watched the Olympics for like the gymnastics part.
I used to, and then I don't know. I just kind of got out of it.
Yeah, I feel that. As baseball became more profitable, players increasingly challenged owners over contract restrictions and income distribution. The reserve clause, which bound players to teams even after contracts expired, kept salaries low and labor disputes frequent.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
I can see that.
for real, because like even if your contract expires, you're still obligated to play. Like what?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. In 1919, resentment toward owner Charles Komsicki, and in enticements from gamblers led several Chicago White Sox players to conspire to throw the World Series, resulting in the infamous Black Sox Scandal.
The fallout led to the creation of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, with Kennesaw Mountain Landis appointed as the first commissioner in 1920.
So we're going to talk a little bit now about this Black Sox scandal. So the mafia or the mob was involved in baseball, particularly during the 1919-1920 season.
Hmm. The notorious New York gangster Arnold Rothstein masterminded and funded a scheme to fix baseball games, a scandal that came to be known as the Black Sox Scandal.
In 1919, rumors began to circulate that certain players were intentionally losing games. Rothstein orchestrated this conspiracy through his lieutenant, Abe et al.
The scandal came to a head in 1920 when a grand jury was convened to investigate the allegations. 8 players were indicted and tried for conspiracy, though they were eventually acquitted.
Despite their acquittal, The scandal severely tarnished baseball's reputation. In response, owners appointed Landis, the first baseball commissioner, a move intended to restore integrity to the sport.
I mean, fair enough. Something had to be done at that point.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If you're watching a game, you can tell when players are giving their all or when they're not. And
Right.
to know that the outcome is already determined before you get there, like, why bother?
Right, exactly. As commissioner, Landis took decisive action by banning the Black Sox players for life. This scandal ultimately led to significant changes in the organization and governance of baseball. Well, it
The
seems like that needed to happen.
Yeah, and I think banning them for life, and some of these players probably deserve their a dash of info.
Right.
The players implicated in the scandal were Shoeless Joe Jackson, Eddie Cicotte, Lefty Williams, Buck Weaver, Chick Gundell, Fred McMillan, Swade Risberg, and Happy Flitch.
That
You know,
same year, oops,
I
sorry.
gotta say, the names of these players are, that was when it was cool, man. Buck Weaver,
Yeah.
Chick Gundell, Shoeless Joe Jackson.
The Swede
Yeah.
and Happy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the Seven Dwarfs. So that same year saw the founding of the Negro National League, which operated until 1931. A landmark Supreme Court ruling in 1922, Federal Baseball Club versus the National League declared that Major League Baseball was not subject to federal antitrust laws, a status that remains unique among American professional sports leagues.
And that is crazy.
Yes.
Um, the dead ball era in Major League Baseball, MLB, spanning from around 1900 to 1920, was marked by low scoring games and a scarcity of home runs, with pitchers having a distinct advantage over batters.
Several factors contributed to this era. The large size of ballparks made it difficult to hit for power. The balls made of rubber were softer and less lively than the later cork-centered balls. Balls were often used until they were misshapen and discolored. They were worn out.
But yeah, basically, yeah, we need to do one on footballs too. But yeah, yeah, how could you really throw or you would start off with one shape at the beginning of the game, and by the end of it, it's totally different. Think
Right.
about trying to hit an egg-shaped ball.
Try throwing an egg-shaped ball. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, I didn't
In a
even think about
straight
that.
line
But just throw it like a football.
at that point, for sure.
This made them harder to hit. The foul strike rule counted foul balls as strikes, reducing the number of hits, and pitchers were allowed to scuff the ball or apply substances such as spitballs, tar balls, and emery balls to gain an edge. I'm just sitting here thinking tar balls, like, it,
Is that where they put gum on the ball and threw it? I don't know. That just sounds gross.
yeah, I don't know. I have to look that up. Maybe that's a dash. Maybe we do a dash on all the different pitches that were banned.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
These conditions led to low scoring games with teams averaging just 3.4 runs per game in 1908. The era emphasized defense, with pitching and fielding playing dominant roles, and strategy becoming crucial, focusing on stolen bases, sacrifice bunts, and manufacturing individual runs.
The dead ball era came to an end with the phasing out of the spitballs and similar pitches in 1920 and the introduction of cork centered balls, which made the ball lighter and livelier, leading to higher scoring games and more home runs.
Babe Ruth is widely credited with helping to save baseball after the 1919 Black Sox Scandal. The scandal, marred by gambling rumors, threatened to destroy the game, causing fans to lose interest and stop attending games. Ruth's prowess as a home run hitter led to an offensive revolution, making baseball more exciting for fans.
And I don't care if you've never heard of baseball, you've probably heard of Babe Ruth.
Exactly. I mean, there's a candy bar named after him, for God's sake.
Well, I don't know if it's named after him or not.
You know,
Huh.
that's a good question.
His personal charisma and rags to riches story further elevated his status as a celebrated American athlete, drawing fans to the ballpark to witness his remarkable home runs.
Ruth's impact on the game was profound, ushering in the live ball era where home runs became a central aspect of baseball. His accomplishments, coupled with his role in restoring the game's integrity, have solidified his legacy as one of the greatest players in Major League Baseball history.
Babe Ruth
Well,
hit. I'm sorry, what was you going to say?
I was gonna say, but like you said, if even if you've never heard of baseball, you have at least heard of Babe Ruth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you ever seen the John Goodman movie, Babe?
No, I haven't, but I do like John Goodman, so I may look into it.
It's an older movie, but it depicts Babe Ruth's rise and kind of fall. Yeah, check it out. It's a really good. It's a really good. I believe it would still be viable today.
And I think the only like baseball movie I've seen, I believe, is that Field of Dreams. Isn't that baseball?
Yeah, you never saw the Tom Hanks movie? Oh man, what is A League of Their Own?
Nope. Or Angels in the Outfield. That was like one of the commercials in my kids' movies.
Angels and Out. That was a good movie. They had Tony Danza and oh my gosh, the guy from Back to the Future, the doc.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna think of his name when we get done. Okay. Um, so we
Back
got to
to
go.
this.
Yeah. Babe Ruth hit 54 home runs in 1920 while playing for the New York Yankees. This was an 86% increase from his 1919 total of 29 home runs. This was a record that wouldn't last long at all, as he would go on to break it with 59 home runs in 1921, and he broke it again in 1927 with 60 home runs.
That's insane.
Yes.
I can't even hit a ball on a good day, let alone hit it hard enough to do a home run. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of running around a square.
Well, I mean, if you hit a home run, you can just like jog it around.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. The, the St. Louis Cardinals general manager Branch Rickey introduced the modern farm system in the late 1920s, allowing teams to develop talent with their own minor league clubs.
World War II affected baseball as many players left to serve in the military. In response, club owner Phil K. Wrigley founded the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League from 1943 to 1954 to maintain public interest in the sport. And basically, that's the Tom Hanks movie, A League of Their Own. It depicts that.
Ah, gotcha. Meanwhile, the major league color barrier began to crack when Jackie Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers, minor league team in 1946. On April 15th, 1947, he debuted with the Dodgers, officially integrating Major League Baseball.
That same year, Larry Doby became the first African American player in the American League with the Cleveland Indians. By 1959, the Boston Red Sox became the last team to integrate.
Well, of course they did.
Yeah.
The mid 20th century saw shifts in team locations, with the Dodgers and Giants moving to California in 1958, bringing Major League Baseball to the West Coast. The 1960s ushered in further expansion with new franchises and the addition of playoff divisions.
The American League introduced the designated hitter rule in 1973 to increase offense. Legal challenges to the reverse clause in 1975 led to the rise of free agent, giving players greater bargaining power.
Baseball faced challenges with labor disputes, including strikes in 1981 and 1994, the latter resulting in the cancellation of the World Series. The late 1990s and early 2000s saw an offensive surge fueled by sluggers, the Mark McGwires, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds, although allegations of steroid use cast a shadow over the era.
In 2004, Major League Baseball introduced penalties for performance enhancing drugs. Further changes to the game included expanded playoffs in 2012 and in 2022 with additional wildcard teams and series. The universal designated hitter rule was implemented in 2022, bringing consistency between the leagues.
That's crazy. I didn't even know that happened in 2022.
Yeah.
That's so recent.
Very recent. And, I didn't really realize that the World Series was canceled at one point either. I didn't know that.
Me either.
Hmm.
Internationally, baseball has a rich history beyond the US. Canada has participated in professional baseball since the 19th century, with the Toronto Blue Jays winning the World Series in 1992 and 1993.
And to our Canadian friends, we're going to give you a shout out. Uh, the sport remains popular in Latin America and Asia with professional leagues in Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. The World Baseball Classic, launched in 2006, has further globalized the sport.
While challenges such as declining youth participation and competition from other sports remain, baseball continues to evolve, balancing tradition with modernization to maintain its status as America's pastime.
Kat, I know you're not really a big baseball fan,
Me and
but
sports have never really melded too well. We're like water and oil. It's bad.
but tell me you at least found this interesting.
I did. I did find this interesting.
And,
It,
and I have another question. Did you know about Babe Ruth before this?
I had at least heard of Babe Ruth. Okay.
Okay, fair enough. I love baseball. My son-in-law, he definitely gets into baseball, and he could probably talk more about all of the stuff that we mentioned, but I thought it would be kind of fun to figure out what the history of it was and kind of know a little bit about the game. And I did not know that, Canada was playing baseball well before the Americans. And, you know, again, there you go.
Right. I didn't know that either. And I guess now I understand the hype around baseball a little bit more. So I reckon we're going to have to do some more history on some other sports.
Okay, fair enough. I know I got college football listed on there, and I know I have soccer,
Yes.
football, known around the globe, other than
Everywhere
here.
else but the US.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
that's all I got.
me too. So if you'd like to support this podcast,
Click the support link in the show notes.
William, I want to thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you so much.
Join the Facebook group at Info on the Go
Share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
Subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
Email us at
infoonthegopodcast@gmail.com.
and yes, that is all one word. Till next time.
Stay curious.
All right. This Mother's Day, give a gift that is truly special, one that captures memories, preserves love, and lasts for generations.
With Tellmail.ai, you can turn your cherished memories into a timeless keepsake. It's simple. Each call unlocks new chapters, bringing to life the moments, laughter, and wisdom that defines your family's history.
After every conversation, Mel carefully transcribes and edits the stories into beautifully written memoir chapters, which can be shared with your family.
These chapters can be compiled into a stunning hardcover book or a digital keepsake, ensuring that your family's legacy is never lost.
This Mother's Day, give more than just a gift. Give the magic of storytelling, a legacy that will be cherished for generations. Start today at tellmail.ai.